On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains.
Coming to you straight from San Diego, California. Let's welcome our host, April Mahoney.
Look who we have from the top of a treehouse, okay, in Pennsylvania, KristaLyn Vetovich. She's an author, Brains. She's an astrologist. She just hung out with, who did you just hang out with? It was with Marianne.
I had the pleasure of spending some time with Marianne Williamson this week.
Marianne Williamson. We're going to hear all about that here on The Edge. I'm so excited to have her here. Thank you so much, and welcome to On the Edge. Brains, sit up straight, pay attention. We have an author in the house, and she is amazing. So, KristaLyn, introduce yourself to my brains here on The Edge.
Well, hello, Brains. My name is KristaLyn Vetovich. I am a high vibe author and astrologist, and I'm very passionate about using fiction as a healing modality and helping to raise the vibration of the world through stories.
Using fiction to raise the vibration, because there's a lot of fiction going on. So I just want to see how you work your magic. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with writing and a little bit about your history.
Sure. So I got started with writing when I was very young, grade school, when we would have those punishments where you had to write lines. I actually loved that. I thought it was great. It was better than physical activity, in my opinion.
Right.
So I started writing stories because there was so much that I wished I could see, and it didn't exist yet. So I wrote it, and I filled my time living in these worlds where I got to just swim in my own subconscious and enjoy anything that I wanted to create. And eventually that led to finishing entire books, an entire series, and publishing them. And 15 years later, here I am.
So you've had like 10 books. That's incredible.
Yeah, I've written 10 books. They're not all currently on the market because some of them are getting re-released. Some of them are in the process of release. Some of them are being pitched as a movie right now. So there's a lot of magic happening behind the scenes, but there are some that are available as well.
Talk about high vibration. How do you get into that space to become this creative, to write these great books of fiction?
Sure. Well, I believe that there's a unique way for everyone to get into their high vibes, but the way to know you're there is just to feel joy. Joy and love are the highest vibrations. You're happy. You're designed to be happy. In astrology, I actually say your astrology chart is God's stamp of approval because you were designed to be this person, to want the things that you want, and that's okay. It's in the stars, and the stars have been around forever. So obviously you are intentional and you were meant to be this way. So if you follow your joy, the things that you are lit up by, you can't go wrong. So it's when you're not in your joy that you want to just pause and say, what's the next best thing I can do that feels good and is happy, true happiness, right? You don't want to cover anything up. You want to feel the feelings and pursue your joy. And that's how you know you're in the high vibes.
But you know, happiness is very subjective. You know, and it's very personal. What people find that brings them joy. Some is food, some is sex, some it's money, some it's just walking in nature. So again, finding where you are, finding that place of contentment, because you know, happiness can also be a drug. A lot of times people are still chasing that. What's the next great thing that's going to make me happy? Is it a new man? Is it a new car? Is it a new pair of shoes? You know, so many times people are chasing that they fail to find contentment and to find peace.
True. And I think that happens when you avoid all other feelings. You're so focused on staying happy that you forget that it's okay to feel other things too, because that brings the happiness back. So you don't want to cover up the other feelings with fake happiness. You want to make sure that you go through all the feelings so that you can come back to the true happiness. And we all innately know the difference for us as individuals. And I know that we feel that. And I encourage people to find that.
Well, I want to ask you something. I'm going to jump around a little bit because you have such a plethora of information. You live in a treehouse. I want my brains to know about that, because that's going to lead into, it's going to be a segue to my next question. So tell us a little bit about the place that you call home.
The place I call home. I have always, I never wanted to have my feet on the ground. So even when I sit, it's often like Indian style on a countertop or somewhere that feels like I'm flying, or a little bit more like that. So I always related to fairies. So when it came time for me to look for a house with my husband, I decided to meditate and I said, God, I want to live in a tree house, but I wanted a big house. So I found exactly what I asked for, of course, but better. And I found it's a California redwood house that sits on the edge of a hill that just is a steep drop among all the trees. So it's all the effects of a tree house, looks like a tree house, feels like a tree house, but it's safer because it's actually sitting on the ledge of a hill.
That is incredible. And I'm sure that that is a magical place to look out at the stars for your next great adventure. And you are an astrologist. And we're going to do a little astrology thing on me. Oh my goodness. I want to see what the stars have to say. But how did you get involved in astrology?
So that's an interesting question. I started picking up hints in the world around me that astrology, as part of my pursuit of metaphysical healing and intuitive skill building and connecting with God, was something that I needed to look into, but I was very unsure of it at the time. So I asked for signs, and I found a video on the Star of Bethlehem, and it really traced the sky back to the moments. And you could see how Regulus lined up with Leo and all the things that really signified to the wise men what was going on, how they were able to understand that, and all the events and astrological events that coincided with even Jesus's life. So for me, being raised Christian, I needed to feel like it was okay for me to branch out. So I asked for permission, basically from God. And when I saw this video, I knew that was my permission. I started following it. It continued to feel good. It continued to make my life more than I ever could have imagined. And again, it became part of my joy. And ever since, I've been able to help people with it. I consider it God's stamp of approval, because it just helps you connect to the God that made you perfect, right? And you have proof because it's in your chart.
But see, you asked for permission. And then there's a lot of people out there in the world that believe that there's a contradiction between astrology and numerology, or, any other type of modalities, and Christianity. Me, I find, that my religion is my roadmap. Okay. Ultimately seeking the gateway, which is my spirituality.
Yes.
A lot of people think of it a lot differently. So I gave you my birth date and the state that I was born in and the city I was born in. What does the stars have to say about April Mahoney being on the edge?
So April Mahoney has a fascinating chart. By the way, your birth time is amazing. You just made it.
I just made it.
Love the 1 a.m. I loved seeing that. I just find that fascinating. So when I look at your chart, what I can tell you immediately is you're doing a great job at being April Mahoney.
Thank you.
Yes, because I like to look at, for a quicker reading that we can do right here as an example, I look at what I call the big three. The big three are your sun, your moon, your rising sign, truly where the sun rose that day. So what was on the horizon the moment that you were born? So if I look at your sun, moon, and rising sign or ascending sign, fun fact, when you read your astrology, your horoscope for the day, you should be reading for your ascending sign, because that is far more accurate to the rest of your chart. We can find out so much more knowing that than your sun sign. So starting with your ascendant's in Taurus. So you present, your ascendant is your first impression. You present as someone who is comfortable, welcoming, someone who is abundant, someone who understands values and loves to share them and support them in other people. That's your first impression. And that's a great first impression to have. I'm actually a Taurus sun.
Well, let me ask you a question, because also Taurus is the bull. Am I a bull in the china shop?
When someone's not doing something that you feel is best for them, you may cause a bit of a ruckus so that you can bring stability back, right? It's not that you're a bull in a china shop. It's that you sense what stability someone needs and you will do what it takes to help them find that. So I mean, I'm a little biased. Again, I'm a Taurus sun, so that's kind of my needs. And moving on to your sun represents yourself, your needs. So when we go to your sun, which is in Leo, your sun falls in the 4th house of your family and your close-knit people, right? So I know by the way you treat your brains here that they are your family. You're going to treat everyone like family. And your North Node, the indicator for your life path, is actually right in the same house, in the same sign. So your needs, your gut instincts are going to lead you towards your joy. So you probably follow your gut a lot, and I doubt it has ever led you astray.
I do. I really do. And I can make a decision. There's a lot of people out there that cannot make a decision. They're afraid. I'm a risk taker.
Yep.
You know,
You're a Leo.
but I also accept responsibility for my actions.
Yes.
Good, bad, or indifference.
Yes. So for every sign, we all know that like Scorpios are supposed to be a little bit eerie and witchy and creepy. But for every sign, there is the sort of mature version, someone who is evolved as that sign, and then someone who's still learning some aspects of that. So for you, a Leo, some people consider them a little self-centered. Some people, you sure have heard the stereotypes, right? But you're an evolved Leo. You're self-aware, self-actualized. You have enough love in you to be able to spread love elsewhere as well. So that means that you get to be an evolved Leo, which is a good leader, someone who takes care of others, the leader of the pride, right? So a lion takes care of all the other lions. A lion is a leader and leads by example, shines bright like the sun, which rules Leo and is in Leo for you. So you have that glowing light about you that says, follow me, I won't lead you astray. I'm going to make sure that with what I lead you to, I've tested it myself. Right. I'm not going to abandon you. Wow. So that's, yeah, right?
Wow.
That's Leo. And
myself, you know, and I've done a lot of work. Brains, don't think I'm just sitting here for shit and giggles. Okay. I am learning and I am absorbing everything from my guests because again, it helps me evolve. It helps me deliver. I knew from the early on as a child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, that I was born to be a communicator, a facilitator of influencers and game changers, people that are ready to level up like you, KristaLyn. That was an amazing reading. Wow, I got goose pimples. Thank you so much. I have to stroke my ego.
That's what a chart is, right? It's validation that everything you are is beautiful.
Oh, well,
so everything I find in a chart for anyone is going to be validation that they are beautiful.
Right. And then also things that we need to, you know, level up on. Tell us about your books. You've got 10 books. I want you to do, I know you have some of them there. I want you to show me a couple of them. Brains, you are going to be lucky enough to win a copy of one of KristaLyn's books. I am just so excited. I'm jealous. I'm going to see which one I want to keep for myself so that I can read because they're great. You know, they're great inspiration. So tell us a little bit about 1 or 2 of your books and show us the copies of what you really want to promote.
Sure. So my favorite book, which I just gave it away to somebody. Sorry about that. It's called Pure Fire. And it is truly a book. Fire is spelled F-Y-R-E if you're investigating it. And it's a book about the same thing that I believe for astrology, understanding that who you are is okay, even if it doesn't feel like it fits in. That who you are has a place in your community and in your world, even if other people don't seem to tell you that that's true and you don't feel that way. And it's about how to find that place by following your joy, your instincts, your values. So Pure Fire is, it's a high vibe fantasy about a world where it's between predetermination and fate and free will in a world where magic picks favorites. So what do you do when you're not the one that magic chose, but you have to save the ones that were chosen by magic? What do you do when you're technically supposed to be shunned by those people, but the only one left to save them is you? So that is what Pure Fire ends up being about. It follows the stories of several people from several backgrounds, and it brings them all together in this cyclical plot structure so that they all end up being this team that needed each other from the beginning. Their pieces of the puzzle create the full picture that can then make a wonderful world and fix what needs fixing.
This sounds like something that would be fantastic at Comic-Con or for people that LARP or cosplay. That's my daughter, definitely. This definitely sounds like her genre.
It's funny you mentioned that. I next week will be at Kansas City Comic-Con on a panel talking about the high vibe healing qualities of fictional characters.
See,
So yeah,
I just gauged that.
you nailed
Absolutely. And so, when Comic-Con comes here to San Diego, that you need to come, and we are going to have a sidebar conversation. We're definitely going to talk about it. I want to talk up your book because you have to come here to San Diego.
Well, we have submitted our panel to San Diego. We're waiting to hear back, and hopefully I'll be there as a panelist and I can have a great time with you.
Absolutely. So tell me about one other book and show me a cover of something that you have there at your desk.
That's I don't have any of my books at my desk. I don't know what happened. They got moved.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll definitely, and I have posted it and I will continue to post it, a link that has all of your books listed, because I want people to really get involved. I want you to be a winner. I want you to go in and subscribe. KristaLyn, leave us with some joy, leave us with some happiness, some words of encouragement that you've conjured up from the top of your treehouse.
Yeah. So I do want to, you asked for a second book. The second series that I would have mentioned was my Shifted series, which is the end of the world from a spirit guide's perspective. Ooh. So yeah, so one of the novellas that go along with it is what happens when you're the spirit guide to someone who is supposed to be martyred by cannibals. Wow. There's a lot going on there, and there's a lot to really question your faith base to the point where you are unquestionable. That's what Shifted is about. It's about doing your research on your own faith, much like you did, where you go and you explore and you decide what's true for you in pursuing your spirituality. So thank you for the opportunity to explain that. And the words of wisdom, funny enough, that I would give for my treehouse is to do your research. Honestly, starting with what is your favorite color and why? Because when someone asks you your favorite color and you say blue, you know why. If they try to question that, you just like blue, you're good with it. But there's so much in this world where if someone questions us, we're shakeable. And if we continue to pursue it, if we continue to research and really build our own understanding of why something matters to us, then we become unshakable. And that doesn't mean you push it on other people. It just means that you in and of yourself are then filled enough to help someone else and lend to their research. You become a resource. And that, I believe, is the best way of teaching. Not telling people what to think, but offering your realm of experience so they can add to theirs and make their own educated, soulful decision.
Do you have children?
I have 2 corgis.
Okay, well, you know what? You are probably the best pet mom in the world. Because you're sensible, you're logical, you're free, you are unyielding. And I admire all of those traits. I really, really do. I'm so glad that you've been here on the edge with me and my brains to share your wisdom. I want them to run out, not Walgreens, but run to Amazon. Get those fingers moving to purchase a copy of one of KristaLyn Vetovich. Mm-hmm. One of her great books, and it's an amazing read. We're going to have an opportunity to read an excerpt. I want you to come back. I want you to come back before do you want to do it now, or would you like to I
can pull up a file and read an excerpt for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give you a second. I want people to really understand what this is, because some people, just don't have that amount of bandwidth. And you're reading their brains, you get it. But I want you to understand that we're moving into 5G. Okay, this is a whole different frequency. The planets are aligned. You think that people are just acting ugly because they want to act ugly. No, I equate it to like a tomato plant. You got to pull it up. You got to shake the roots loose. Then when you transplant it, you hope that you're still able to bear fruit because those vines are moving. That is where we are right now. In the most simplistic terms I can give you, is really a place to find yourself, to get rerooted, to shake it up, okay, and to bear fruit. Are we ready, darling?
We are just about ready. Yeah, I have so many files. It's hilarious. It's funny, my publishers were very gracious with the amount of things they gave me, but here it is. Okay, so this will be the first page of Slaughtered, which was the Shifted series book about being a spirit guide to someone who is destined to be martyred by cannibals.
Oh, wow. All right, brains, get ready.
All right, chapter 1. John Williams has been the center of my world for the last 43 years. I was there when he was born, and I watched him grow and build a family. I guided him to the London Mission Society and protected him as he inspired an entire chain of islands to find religion. Every line on his face reminds me of the days of frowns and joy that caused them. It's been a great run. But now, John has to die. It's not as bad as it sounds. Everyone dies. John's time has come, and subconsciously he knows it. The proof is in the ink of his journal. Sunday afternoon, 16th November, 1839. Oh, how much depends upon the morrow. The approaching week is to me the most important of my life. He writes at the wooden desk aboard the Camden, a ship designed for this voyage and a testament to John's impact on the world. I rest a hand on his shoulder, sending a thrill of excitement with a pinch of nervousness to his chest. I've been doing this for days now to prepare his soul for the last day of his life. That's my job. I'm John's fern, his guide through living and fulfilling his purpose, which he's done beautifully. We're in this together. I care about John, and I would never scar his soul. We discussed his death at length before he left Le Mail and to be born into Velt with the other living souls. It won't be pretty considering the circumstances, but we finally settled on a death by bludgeoning, which is merciful compared to other options in the New Hebrides Islands that there are to offer. I'll spare you the details.
Oh my God. So he's about to get busted in the nugget.
He's going to have a rough time.
But this is, it's great because I understand that he has a spirit guide and that he is a shifter and that you are going to the next level of consciousness, wherever that is for you. We're not stuck here, brains. I don't believe that. I don't believe that this is the be all end all. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in manifestation. I believe in morphing. So this is really great. Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Is that maybe one of the books that we're going to get? Because I can't wait to hear what happens to John.
Absolutely. It is on its way to you already, actually. I've sent you several copies of my books.
What? Look at that, brain. See, this is what's happening on the edge. This is why we have the movers, the shakers, the innovators. KristaLyn, you have just been amazing. You really have. Please keep us abreast of what's going on. And do not come to San Diego and not reach out to me and my brains. We will treat you like the princess you are.
Oh, and I will pray that San Diego follows through so that I can come out and see you, because you will definitely be a highlight, even in among all the other things.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you again so much for the astrology reading. If there's anything that me and my brains can do for you, know that the platform is open to you. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you if they want to purchase some books, if they want to do some astrology, maybe have an online writing course. Share.
Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me on mostly Instagram. I chill out there a lot at The Real KristaLyn. And my website, where you can find all of my books and even chat with me about the possibility of doing an astrology reading, is KristaLynVetovich.com.
Did you get all that, brains? If you didn't, I'm going to have it down at the bottom. Thank you again so much from the bottom of my socks, darling, because my heart just isn't deep enough.
You're wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Bye, brains. Have an exceptional day. And then tonight, look up at the stars. Bye.